Free speech is one of the greatest things that we love to talk about, but we don't want. Nobody wants free speech. Free speech, free and totally unencumbered, absolute free speech, where anybody can say anything you want. No. Now, you can say whatever you want, but you're going to receive some kind of a repercussion. Something will happen. Just because you're able to say something without being arrested like you are in the UK doesn't mean there's free speech. It's the biggest joke there is. There is no such thing as that. We all will shut people off. I mean, I don't want people to be, like I said, I want to ignore people. That's what I do. I ignore people. And I also want you to understand that I've seen this. I've been through iterations of this. I started this in 1988, where I'm actually paid. This is in the old days of talk radio. I've been through this. I have seen people before. I've been through the Howard Sterns, and I've been through the Rush Limbaughs and the Bob Grants. And I've seen this, and the shock jocks and everything. And I've seen them come and go. Remember the Grease Man? Remember that guy? I mean, they just, every now and then they have to purge. And what I've always loved the most, is the person who goes too far, too fast, and then there's nothing left. Let me give you an example of something. Howard Stern, when he was in his day. Now, remember, I'm not asking you what you think about Howard Stern. I'm not asking you whether you like Howard Stern. People always have to come back with, I don't want to. I'm not asking you. It doesn't matter what you think. I've never heard his show once. Never. When he was on radio, when he was in New York, never. I couldn't even tell you what station he was on. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I understand the way it works. Anyway, he would come close to the edge because there was a boundary. The boundary made him dangerous. That's what it was like. Did you hear what he almost said? There was a guy named Don Imus who was just a jerk. But in his heyday, he was considered the shock jock. What he did today is a joke, is an absolute joke, or would be. It's nothing. It's nothing. Lenny Bruce, at the height, or as you might say, the height of his career, was just it's nothing. Nothing. What we're hearing today is the shocking part, is something which is even more interesting, and that is the people who are saying things out of their minds. And the one to watch, if you want to see this is going to be burn out, burn up, and phase out. Watch this, because she is off the rails. And I'm watching. It's like, go on, get the popcorn, watch this. I've seen this before. Candace Owens, she is headed right for incineration, self-destruction. She is so angry, she is out of control. Now, let me go on the record. I think she should be able to say whatever she wants. I listen to her and say, what is this crap? We're going to talk about this. Today's shock jock is the look, and we're not talking Alex Jones. Alex Jones is far more valuable. Alex Jones was fact-based. She is virulent, gossip rag, no facts, no nothing. I mean, sometimes you get some facts. Watch what's happening right now. Today, we're going to be talking about this myth called free speech. There's no such thing. But first, this critical message. Listen to this. New reports reveal that the average person has $8,674 in credit card debt. Plus, the total average consumer debt is a shocking $104,215 between mortgages, auto loans, student loans, credit cards, and unsecured loans. Unfortunately, without outside assistance, many will continue digging themselves deeper and deeper into the hole of debt. Now, I've advised and counseled friends and clients for years who want to take back control of individual debt about this secret weapon that has helped so many consolidate everything owed into one affordable monthly payment. They even help negotiate a settlement agreement that will allow you to pay less than the total balance. Listen, they settled over $275 million in debt, and they've helped people become debt-free in an average of 28 months. I've had such an incredible experience referring clients and friends that I wanted to partner with them here and introduce their services to you, my loyal Lionel Nation family. If you want a helping hand to get out of debt, I absolutely, positively, and strenuously recommend booking a free consultation now by going to nodebtwithlionel.com. Look at the address. Once again, that's nodebtwithlionel.com. Use the link I've provided under the title. Listen to me. You can take control and learn how to get out of debt now. My friends, I love this thing that we do in this business, and this is going to be the issue of 2025 because I've been through this. I've seen this so much, and it's, how do we say this? This notion of what can we say? Zuckerberg is going crazy to try to say, I'm okay. He's meeting now. He's getting Dana White on board. He's trying to deal with, how do we say this? He's trying to get Dana White on board. He's doing everything in his power. Elon is coming under arrest. Everybody's going crazy. And when people go crazy, when people go nuts, when they feel they're not getting enough attention today, they lose their minds. Do you understand this? This is the part that gets me. Now, we become so in love with our friends online. We become so, we're fan clubs. Trump and I love Trump, and okay, fine. This is like nothing I've ever seen before. And what happens is when it's like when you're running a race or you're doing a marathon and you start out with a sprint. You better this is a marathon. You got to end at the end. And I've seen people who are losing their minds, and sometimes there are people who get them the wrong way. Candace Owens, by the way, who is very smart, very talented, absolutely a powerhouse talent, is going off the rails. Now, I don't know what's happening, but it's fascinating to watch. Trust me when I'm saying this. She's now saying everybody's gay. Obama, Macron, Trudeau, I guess. Macron's wife is a man, and she knows this. She knows this. And people love it. Love it. But they love it because they want to see a fight. They want to see a cat fight or they love to take people on. And the only thing she knows is, come on. Okay. Now, Bannon, another one too, completely left out of the mix. Not a part of the Trump team, not a part of the Trump wave. He feels like, wait a minute, I was there for you. I was there for you, and you're not doing anything. You've abandoned me. And he's getting upset. And then you know who this is Mean Girls. The new cool girl. This is the best part. This is the best part. And I mean this. Elon Musk is something they absolutely, how do I say this? Just a second. I'm sorry. I'm multitasking. Remember, I'm all by myself. It's just me. I don't have any nothing. That's the way I want it. I don't want to deal with this. Now, let me talk about a couple of things. We're right now, people are going crazy. A couple of good things are happening. There is more and more free speech, and we're talking about it. And Elon Musk is the most, again, people do, it's like some people cannot praise him enough. Oh, he's got social credit. Oh, he won't let you say this. Okay, good. So what do you want? What is it that okay, fine. You got a beef. I understand. I get it. Can you tell me, is there anybody that you have ever met that is 100% perfect? Anybody? Did anybody tell you? Can you tell me anything? Can you tell me anything? Can you tell me this? Anybody? Can you think of anybody who? Anybody? No, seriously. Give me somebody that's somebody who's just perfect. Anybody? Anybody? Because there's got to be, because there's always somebody who says, yeah, but. Elon Musk is the best thing that's ever happened. I don't give a damn what he does. If he was 50% of what he's doing, I'd be happy. This is the most important thing in the world. When are we ever going to be happy? And let me tell you what's happening here. It's the scrum. It's this, the troll mentality. I don't think anybody really cares about progress. I think they love the argument. Some people have loved to go to sports things, events, just to argue with other people. It's the most important thing in the world. This how do I say this? Because I'm always trying to find a way to not hurt people, because people get their feelings hurt tremendously. You have no idea. I get emails from people they write stuff and say they get they get so offended. I don't know. I guess maybe they just jumped in now and this is the first time we've ever seen it. We are doing so much better than we have ever done, ever. And I'm so happy to be a part of it. But some people just don't like it. But let's talk about this Candace Owens just for a moment. Now, I don't want to say, now listen, you've got to pace yourself here. When I told you about Matt Gaetz, you don't even know the half of it. There's stuff I can't even say because some of it's not confirmed. But there's a lot of stuff that is confirmed. And I told you, I said, this is the guy that you've got to be absolutely aware. You understand this? You understand this? You had really better understanding. But people loved him because he was their boyfriend or something. I don't know what it was. I said, do you understand? I'm only talking about what hurts President Trump. Okay. That's what's changed. He's like, oh, okay. And maybe, and the reason why is that you have this echo chamber and this crowd screaming called social media. Same thing happened with Rush. Rush Limbaugh got into some stuff. Rush Limbaugh one time made fun of Chelsea Clinton. When he first started off, he was the Florida Orange or the Citrus Commission and like, oh, there's other good crap. I went through the whole thing with Bob Grant. Bob Grant was this. And nobody, and I'm trying to think. Again, it was difficult because we didn't have social media, but nobody responded to Bob Grant as though, I love Bob Grant. It was more like, well, what did he say and what did he do? But today it's a different story because we have many, many little echo chambers, and we have so much information that's being at us. And what have I always told you? What has been my refrain? What? This is the most important thing in the world. I have said to you, and I think this is the most important, but I have said to you that I don't, that there are some things that we kind of think are the way it is. We sort of, but let's wait until we have some kind of, evidence for what it is that's out there. Is that okay? Let's have some kind of evidence. There is an event, and by the way, I just did my private channel stuff, and I'm talking everything from directed energy weapon to fire, everything you can imagine that would never be allowed. When I say not allowed, see, when you do commercial platforms like this, the idea is that you always want to have followers and you want to have likes. Like I want you to follow Mrs. L for her birthday. I put the link for her. Remember, on the 19th, 12 days. Because we want to get her site up to 100,000. 10 will do for now. But you see what they do is, unless you're monetized, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's like it doesn't become a commercial venture. It becomes just like a hobby. So that's the rules. Like, okay, those are the house rules. Don't say this, but say this. Don't say this. And good luck trying to figure out. Sometimes I'm with my good friend, Sean Atwood in the UK, and we have to speak in code about stuff that's the most ridiculous thing in the world because they just... Now, other people can say exactly the same thing. I one time, I'll never forget this, was commenting on it was on an ABC piece regarding that guy whose name begins with the fifth letter. The guy on the island. Okay. And I was commenting on an approved ABC news story. It wasn't some crazy website. It was not allowed for this. Oh, you can post it, but no. I said, but how, wait a minute. But they, this is their stuff I'm commenting on. Doesn't matter. It's the subject matter. Well, how come how come they can do it and I'm not adding? No. So this is life. This is the way it is. Okay. All right, fine. That's why we have private channels where everything's going to be behind a paywall. Everything. Now, going back to what I said, I think we should have everything available. Everything. Now, you might want to have, or like sometimes you say, is this approved for kids? I got no problem with that. You want to have like a PG warning. Do you know that remember when we had Chipper Gore, Frank Zappa, and the parents' parental rights? You remember that when we were rating albums or songs? Remember that one? Remember this stuff? Donny Osmond, who's brilliant, said one of the smartest things. Donny Osmond said, if you demand ratings on albums, you're going to force people to put in body X-rated language because you don't want the G rating. Nobody's going to buy a rap song with a G rating. Nobody. And it made sense. It made complete and total sense. So he and Frank Zappa were kind of aligned. And again, we've been through this. If you've been doing this as long as we have, remember, this is what, my 37th year of going to this. It is professional. And I've had, on radio, then there's TV. I'm not going to go through all this stuff, but I've been through it. Well, now it's this, and there's this scrum. So I'd love to go back to what I said initially, because I find this interesting. Candace, how do you know any of this? Take me through it. How do I know? How do you know? How do you know this? How do I know this? How? How do you know about Barack Obama, Macron, Trudeau, and Macron's wife? How do you know this? Know it. Let's go to court. I mean, I know I'm not talking about suing, but if you had to go before a jury, the jury says, okay, can you prove this? Beyond a reasonable doubt or preponderance of the evidence? No. No. And they say things emphatically. I'll tell you another two people to watch out for. One in particular, Andrew Tate. Now, I'm telling you, again, free country. But when somebody says, okay, let's really do an investigation, okay, you see what happens. But people like him, and that's great. Again, do I want people shut down? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You see, everybody, when you allow people to talk long enough, they break away from the subject matter and go after each other in terms of scrums, in terms of Candace Owens is upset with Ben Shapiro went this in the Prager University, this. And I wonder how Dennis Prager's doing. I hope he's doing well. Because that's the way it always breaks into. They start eating each other. I mean, consuming, like cannibalizing, I should say, attacking each other. Same thing what happens. Do any of you great folks watch the Mafia genre, or as they call it, genre? Any of you watch the Mafia genre? Anybody? Anybody do that? Sammy the Bull is upset with John Gotti Jr., who's upset with Mikey Scars, who's A-Light, doesn't like this, and then you got that, and then you've got Panisi's mad with Sikali, back and forth, and then you have these other people, and I love these people out of the blue. These guy goes, "Hello, how are you? Welcome to Mob Talk. Today we're going to talk to Eddie Lugatz Palamonio, head of the Lucchese family." I said, "Excuse me, who are you? Who are you?" "Well, I'm doing a mob genre." A mob genre? What are you in the? Are you in the mob? Your name is Chuck. Who are you? "Well, I'm just doing it. And you think that maybe is Sammy a rat? Was he? Wait a minute. Who are you?" Now, I've had people that I've known who had an inordinate amount of insight into the mob genre. And they've listened to this and said, "What are you talking about?" I think the word was jerk off. They referred to these people as just, okay, but that's a way. And then, so they're now infighting. You got this one, you got Mikey Scars, he's upset with this. And you've got, I mean, this is incredible. So you got Candace Owens over there. You got the mob group. And then you're going to love this, in the comedians group. And here is the best part. The worst the worst talk host ever are comedians. Absolutely the worst. And I learned this years ago from people like Joy Behar. Remember in the old days, WABC, after Joy Behar, Gilbert Gottfried. Oh my God. I cannot tell you, anybody in the business, ask what it's like to bring in or to interview a comedian. And you would think they would be terrific. Intuitively, you would say they're very good because this is what they do for a living. Oh, they're the worst. So anyway, hear me out. So within their realm, now they're all Jay Morris steals this joke. Kreischer's upset with this. Bobby Lee with this. Is Joe Rogan funny? I don't know this. Shane Gillis with this. This is what they're turning into. It's they're consuming their own. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever heard in my life. Because they're running out of stuff to do. They're running, and I've seen this. Work with me on this one. Just hear me out. Now, again, there should be no limitations on this, but recognize the difference between free speech and what people are talking about. And listen, if you want inside stuff, you know what really started it best? Shoot wrestling stuff. Oh, the best. Jim Cornette, the best. My old buddy, Bobby the Brain Heenan. Oh my God. Gordon Sully died too early, but Bobby, I hear him and I almost, it's so odd because the stuff we talked about it. And it was the first time they broke kayfabe. They got away from it. More important, they got away from it. So you had wrestling, you've got comedians, you've got the mob, and then you got the Candace Owens types. Candace Owens, Bannon, they're angry. Who emerges from that? Alex Jones. Alex Jones isn't in that. Alex Jones doesn't fight each other. He fights, the system, or fights globalists or whatever it is. You see where we are right now? So let me repeat this because I don't think you may not catch this. What is happening to free speech right now, and what's interesting among the people that we talk about in our group, and I'm sure the same thing happens with sports, stuff. We are turning on each other, so to speak. And then you have some people who say, the only way I'm going to get away with this is if I really push it. And I really push it. And when somebody, in wrestling, the word, term, a work. And then there's a shoot. A shoot is when it's real. And I was just going through my stuff this morning because there's a lot of good stuff. There was a thing about Candace Owens. I think Sarah Carter was saying, she's gone. She's like off the rails. She's lost her way. Something happened. And it's interesting because it's a shoot. She's really, everybody I know, everybody who has commented and who has been, I hate that. Those little reaction things drive me nuts. And it's not a very long ride. Talk about Israel, from Max Blumenthal to Aaron Mate to even Katie Halper to Mearsheimer to Napolitano to Jeffrey Sachs, Alistair Crook to just go down the list. Norman Finkelstein, go down. They never get angry. It's about the argument. And if anybody's got the chance to feel it, it's Finkelstein. Finkelstein is one of the bravest people who has ever lived. Whether you like him or not, doesn't matter. But in terms of sticking, really, okay, they never lose it's never about, they are vehemently, you might want to say anti-Zionist, anti-Bibi, anti-Israel, but they never lose their anger. They never get angry. They're angry. They're angry in their message in terms of being against the situation, but they never pull a Candace Owens. She's angry. This is personal, and when it becomes personal, do you ever see two boxers fight? They can club each other, and at the end, they're hugging each other. The moment you lose it, the moment you lose what's happening, oh my God. So right now we are 13 days away from 12 days until Mrs. L's, and I want those subscriptions. That's her birthday present. But right now, there's so much dissension among our team, and it's becoming more and more personal. Do you hear what I'm saying? It's personal. It's not about Trump. It's not about Israel. It's not about, no, it's about Bannon's left out. He isn't of it. Laura Loomer, I like her spunk. She's just, she's just trouble. People say, get her. This is not good. Even well, maybe they bought her off with the Greek thing, but even Kimberly Guilfoyle kind of walked off and said, all right, I'm not gonna make a big stink about this. But there's others. We're fighting this infighting. And we're losing our minds. And let me go back to what I said initially. Elon Musk is the best thing that ever happened. Ladies and gentlemen, Pilgrim Media says, hear anyone from Shamala's wine cacinations? Hear any more? No. By the way, CACCHINATION. I think it's cacination. Who's the heel and who's the baby face? Well, we got, again, very interesting. Very difficult if you listen to me very. Okay. Now, let me go back to what's going on here. First, what is this thing about that we're doing? Let me ask you, do you enjoy this because of the subject matter, or do you like the personal kind of inner? You got to answer that question. I'm interested only in the issues and who best deals with the issues. That's what I want. I don't listen to half of the people that you listen to because I think sometimes it becomes kind of wrapped up into whatever it is. We fought like animals to get President Trump elected. We did. We've been through this. And what are we talking about? I don't know. Other stuff, I guess. There is a total reset that is going on in the best sense of the term. A total and great reset, which is so fantastic and so wonderful. I'm so glad it's here. And everybody's coming out of the woodwork. Zuckerberg wants to make peace with Trump. Zuckerberg is reaching out to Dana White. Dana White is Trump's buddy. Joe Rogan, who, by the by, I'm not familiar at all with his comedy. Let me say something to you right now. And I'm going to say this with all due respect. With all due respect, I should. Comedy is dead. Political comedy is what you're seeing right now. Political comedy is what you are seeing here. No, I mean, not here. You are seeing absurd. On February the 22nd, I'm going to be again at the cutting room with all the information here. And some of this stuff will absolutely floor you. You will be laughing to the point where you will be, and it's not me, it's the absurdity of the situation. Billy Bob Thornton. By the by, did you see Jerry Jones in his acting debut? This man is one of the greatest actors. This is 100% raw talent, like I've never seen before. Check him out. He is. I mean, it is serious. And Billy Bob Thornton has emerged as the new kind of Dirty Harry or something. His Sling Blade changed my life. When that movie came out, that changed my life. And I saw Sling Blade. I was on WABC at the time. And I happened to see Sling Blade in a preview. And all I did was that, love taters and all that. And so there I was on WABC, and I was so hooked by this that I was doing this. And people were saying, what are you doing? Why are you, where did you start? I said, it's a movie. What movie? What are you talking? Anyway, Billy Bob Thornton is just phenomenal. So he did a show. He was on with Bill Maher. Bill Maher wants to be funny. Bill Maher is as funny as sepsis. He has it written for him. He's a delivery. Bill Maher and Dennis Miller. Haven't seen Dennis Miller lately. You notice that? These people that just come, maybe, I don't know, but you would think now would be the time. Maybe he's there. I don't know. I haven't been following him. But Bill Maher and Dennis Miller want so much to be the smartest person in the world. Norm Macdonald said this true. David Letterman was probably the smartest guy in the room, but loved being kind of like the dummy, self-deprecating. It was a different style. So Billy Bob Thornton was talking to Bill Maher about doing a smoking and drinking laws in New York when he was on a location. He went to an Irish bar. And Billy Bob Thornton told a story that was absolutely true. And it had people roaring because it was true. The story was true. He wasn't, I mean, he was a good storyteller, but it was the facts. It was the facts of the reality. That's today's comedy. This Bobby Lee sick, I'm disgusting, and the way comedians have to laugh as though they laugh in paroxysms. They laugh in convulsions. Jerry Seinfeld, comedians, and they make them sound like they're from another planet. These people are, they're stuck with, they're brilliant, but they're not good. How do I say this? They're not, I don't want to say well-read. They have a difficult time conversing outside of the realm and the framework of routinized, choreographed, arranged brilliance that they say every single night in exactly the same way with exactly the same pause. And it's done because there's such how do I say this? Who wants to go see somebody if I'm immersed in this all the time? So what we're finding out is the comedians are not the smart ones. The comedians are not the comedians. The comedians are great, but once you see their thing, and by the way, Bob Newhart, button down mine, Bob Newhart, I think it was CBS, when Bob Newhart came out with his album, they said, why do we want to put in an album about a stand-up comedian? You're going to hear it one time. Well, Bob Newhart, remember, I used to listen to Bill Cosby, Lighter Than Air, to Russell, my brother whom I slept with, loved him. And I heard it over and over again. Noah's Ark, Richard Pryor, Carlin. But first, it was different. It was funny. It was today. Name one thing you want to hear again. And what are you getting? You're getting attitude and profanity and vulgarity. Now, for me, vulgarity simply means this. Robert Klein, who was, I don't know about now, but was my comedic genius. This guy was from another planet. And he said something one time. And just for the record, he was a great, I liked him until he didn't like my politics, and then nothing to do with me. Okay, fine. But I still am able to say Child of the 50s was the greatest comedy album I've ever heard in my life. But he said, profanity is okay, so long as it's not a substitution for wit, so long as it's not a crutch. It's like instead of and if you've ever watched cop videos, as I do, people like them, the word is bruh. Bruh, and there's nothing worse than a white person trying to act ghetto or Compton or black. Whatever you want to call it, there is nothing. Hey, bruh, come on, bruh. Let go, bruh. Excuse me. Your name is Michelle Vandercleave, and you're a who are you? You're a negress from Compton. Stop this. Bruh is the word after it's an interjection. Do you know in Italian, when you say e uno and one, for sound in Italian, they put a D. E uno comes out ed uno. It flows better. They'll put a D kind of in there. So when you say it, like, there's like a truncation. Well, that's the word bruh. So this is what we've learned. So people sometimes will just, the amount of cursing. I saw Rick Beato, who was fantastic, had a guitar player on. You know who he's talking about? This guy who had the fingernail, men with fingernail polish. It's aesthetically disgusting to me. And they're not gay. They're doing it because they have to do it, just like the old rocker who has to have the hair and the ponytail. This guy was F-bombing it to the point where, and you could tell Rick Beato was like, why are you doing this? Why? We're talking music. Okay. Stop. Recap. I hope you're following this. Jeremy Renner, thank you, Brad. Brad Rung, by the way, gives us a Jeremy Renner, 54. Doug E. Doug, 55. Nicholas Cage, 61. Senator Rand Paul, 62. Katie Couric, 68. David Caruso, 69. Whatever happened to him? Aaron Gray, 75. Remember Aaron Gray? Wasn't Aaron Gray with one of the Father Knows Best or something? Or maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. And Kenny Loggins, Mishkino, Kenny Loggins, 77. Celebrate Me Home, one of the greatest albums. But he had that eye thing done. And it was he and Kenny Loggins, Kenny Rogers. That was the one that was so bad. And you wonder, why did you possibly, if that's not malpractice, I don't know what. Should a comedian write his own jokes? Of course. I hope they would. Raul Rodriguez says, what will the radical nightmare look like? Well, the radical nightmare is going to be, it's going to be a complete and total disgorgement of everything they're doing. They're going out of their minds right now. Trump is going to unleash. And by the way, the first thing is going to be this wonderful, this high-speed rail thing in California. But with Elon Musk and Doge, I guess, depending upon where you're from, everything, courts, the reversals of all of the Biden, it's going to be, are you kidding me? Look at what's happening. Look at the people who are falling. Pierre Trudeau. And I hope we do. Why not grab Greenland? Why not? Tariffs. The most important thing is there is no cool anymore. Do you remember? Think of something. Do you remember in your time when something became uncool? Like, for example, in radio, I knew a lot about radio. Never got into music radio because the music I liked, they didn't play, but they had these things. AC, adult contemporary. AOR, album oriented rock. CHR, contemporary hit radio. There were all these AC hot. Oh, then it was. Then they would have hot talk, urban, hot urban. So I said, oh, oldies and classic. And one day we were sitting around we had like ABC people here and PLJ people here. And I said, when does something become an oldie? When does something be a classic? What's the difference? Who determines what a classic rock? 98.5 classic rock. What is classic? What does that mean? And of course, I'm into the semantics of it, the etymology, the appellations. That's what I'm into. And nobody could answer my question. Yeah, that's what. When is an oldie? When is a classic? Does it go from oldie to classic? Is Layla a classic or is it an oldie? Well, it's a classic, but it's also an oldie. So I don't really know. So the thing that we have to do is the names that we give for these things are critical. So do you remember when something ended for you? Do you remember right around the time the Lower East Side, CBGB's, Talking Heads, The Ramones, that kind of grunge. It was that grunge, but it was that, I don't know what that was. And then it got passe. Talking Heads, a little different, but then they said, okay, we're done with it. Ramones, like, okay, enough. You did it. You know, they shot their load, or well, I hate to use that phrase, but I mean, they're out of, there's nothing there anymore. It's done. Disco. Remember when disco, it just ended. Okay. What we're seeing right now on January the 20th is the official end of the political radical left. But what I brought up to the day, and I hope you got the Lionel news. I don't call it a newsletter anymore. I don't call it an email. It's Lionel news. I talked about this criminal transgender crime musical. I swear to God. Emilia Pettit, that everybody's talking about. And it is a statement by the radical left that say, you may have won the House or whatever it is, but we still own and we still control the culture. And we're going to double down on that one. Now, but politically, they've lost it. Keep an eye on the importance. One of the most important issues is Ashli Babbitt. Ashli Babbitt, look and see what the left are calling her a traitor. This woman was murdered. This woman was murdered, and she did absolutely nothing to deserve this. Pamela Garner, ladies and gentlemen, says, what are your thoughts on Elon's $80 million lawsuit against Gold Turd? She needs to be held accountable on what she spews. It's always BS. Will it set a precedence? Will it hold these talk show posers who think they matter accountable for their content? Well, let's first of all, thank you very much for your kindness. I've got a how do I say this? I've got a and by the way, may I just make sure we understand when you say gold turd? I mean, I want to make sure I understand what we are talking about here. If you don't mind, I recognize. Hang on, where are we? Right here. There we go. That's not what I want. Now, where is this? Where am I? Where in the hell am I? Just a minute. I just lost I've got so many windows open. You know, life's like that. You got so many windows open. There we go. Oh, Whoopi? Okay, Whoopi. Oh, yeah. I want to know about the lawsuit that I hope it was filed regarding the Staten Island bakery. Let me see this. Just a minute. Let me see. Let's see what the latest is. See what I do right now? I always look things up. I want to see what this is. I don't know if this, according to December the 9th, they said there's no evidence that Musk filed a lawsuit against Whoopi. I don't know if this is true. A headline shared 70 by 80 million lawsuit against Whoopi Goldberg and The View that they're lying. I don't know. So I don't know what first of all, we got to find out, was this filed? PolitiFact says, no, he didn't sue. So I don't know. Maybe our fine friends, do we have any information of this? Now, Ashli Babbitt is the most important case of them all. First of all, no police officer was killed or lost their life that day. None. I hope you saw the video that I put out. And if you did not, let me bring this to your attention. Where I broke down one of the funniest judge rules of them all is Sonny Hostage one of the, and I don't normally like to bring up what goes on in The View, but it's important. It's important to sometimes use it as a tutorial for what the left is theoretically saying, which I find fascinating. And by the way, this is it right now. This is the link. Just a second here. Let me see this. Let me go. Maria Day says, Mr. L, this is my first and long overdue super chat. My life changed forever when your June debate after show popped up in my feed, and I've been hooked ever since. I consider you a mentor, and thank you, Mrs. L, for all you do. That is the nicest thing you could ever say, and I thank you for that. Matt Les X says Disco Demolition Night was the official end of the 70s. I don't believe that was true. I think that came afterwards. But I don't know about that. But Ashli Babbitt, and I've got to, what is our time? 9? Honey? 9:15. Okay. All right. Mrs. L has that's why we're doing this early, and thank you for being this. The Ashli Babbitt thing is so important because what she did was, she was murdered. And the very first witness I would love to call will be a series of expert to train police officers and ask them, what threat did she pose? You have an armed agent there whose name was always kind of hidden. But what professionally was this negligence? And after about 10 to 15 experts who will come out of the woodwork and say, this was the most unprofessional, unnecessary of police activities, remember, this is a civil case. And I hope she wins, I think it's 30 million. I hope there's punitive damages as well. Punies to tack onto that. So, you know what? We're going to be talking about that. Matt Lessex, Maria Day, thank you so very much. Please join us later on. That was so important. Pamela Garner, thank you. I'm going to look more of this, just kind of update on Mr. Musk and Gold Turd, as you say. Raul Pilgrim, Brad Rung, thank you so much. Remember, what my goal is, I swear to God, I know this sounds kind of highfalutin and ridiculous, is not necessarily just to give you new information, but I know this sounds nuts. I want to teach you and show you how to think, not what to think. What you think is completely up to you. The process you go through is a different story. Those rules never change. All right, dear friends, have a great and glorious day. Don't forget to subscribe to Lynn's Warriors. I will see you tonight at the usual time. Also, make sure you're subscribed to Lionel Nation, because I've got some very interesting drops and you have inspired me, because I learn more from you than you do for me. In any event, dear friends, we love you. Have a great and glorious day. Don't forget the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.